Hakioi listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Don't forget to go to my Instagram, Facebook or Twitter at Let's Learn Sumo. Subscribe to the podcast to get regular updates. This is after day 2 of the November Basho in Fukuoka in deep South Kyushu of Japan. I think they should rename this Basho so far after 2 days. It should be called the Intent and Purpose Basho. The full Ozeki and Sanyaku power is on display, and all I can think from the first 2 days is that the Ozeki had pure intent and purpose about what they were going about in the last 2 days. It's clear that now that everyone's clear of Karaban status and they're back to full power, that they are back to full power. I think after day 2, all I can say is, wow, that's some pretty full-on sumo in the last 2 days of very powerful sumo. So let's go through some of the matches and some of the highlights of the first 2 days. We'll start with our Ozeki, of course. Our man will start at the top. Takakeisho, the battle hamster, he's looking to get himself to Yokozuna, so he needs some fairly good intent. He's looking for maybe a 13-14 sort of win ratio. He probably doesn't want to drop any matches if he can get away with it, but so far there's pretty good intent. Look, he did come in with a bit of a neck injury. We haven't seen any evidence of that yet. And he's certainly notched up 2 wins. So day 1, he took on Hokuto Fuji. This is their 25th meetup in Makuchi. Look, what can I say about this? Takakeisho got the jump on him. A bit of talk about whether the Gyoji referee should have called a mata on that one and paused it, because I think Taka just got a momentary takeoff and caught Hokuto Fuji slightly unaware, and he used that momentum for an oshidashi push-out. So that was Hokuto Fuji. I would call him the disappointment of the day. Not entirely his fault. I think the Gyoji might have just missed that one slightly. But let's move on to day 2 for Takakeisho. Well, he didn't have it so easy in day 2. He was up against Shodai, our silky-haired man. And next to my note here, as you hear me rustling my notes, I just wrote, wow. Look, that was a massive charge by both of them. They had a big thrusting battle and went back and forth a bit. And Shodai got Takakeisho back a little bit. He got him back forward. Takakeisho got him under pressure, and as Takakeisho started going back under pressure, I don't know whether he kind of did it on purpose, but as he went back, I think he sensed that Shodai was really pushing forward hard. He sidestepped, grabbed a hand, and that saw Shodai go forward with momentum, and a Hikiatoshi hand pull down for Takakeisho for the win. Look, that was a really good match. If you haven't seen that one, I would say on day 2, that goes close to being my match of the day, one of them. So Takakeisho, plenty of intent. Wasn't an easy match on day 2, so I think I'm not entirely convinced of where he's at for this tournament yet, so we'll wait and see. So we'll go back to day 1. Let's talk about our next Ozeki, Kirishima. He was up against Ura on day 1, and all I've written here is intent. He chucked Ura just straight out of the dojo. Look, it was a super touchy-eye push to upset Ura's balance. Ura's head just got flung back a couple of times under huge pressure and huge thrust from Kirishima to his shoulders. Ura recovered a bit, but he was just too upright. He couldn't respond. He was out of balance, and he was just pushed out a Yoriteoshi drive out. Look, I think he was just a bit low at the touchy-eye. Ura seemed to go very low. I think he was trying to avoid that Kirishima whack, but Kirishima got a bit of a rear grip and he was gone. So that was a pretty forceful intent there from Kirishima, and Abi suffered the same fate. Abi got a pretty decent chest thrust at the touchy eye, But Kirishima, he knew it was coming, and he's gone the 1-2 and a big, massive thrust out. Super intent by Kirishima for an Oshidashi win against Abe to get him to 2-0. Very impressive sumo. So, next up, our next Ozeki, Hoshoryu. Look, Hoshoryu, talking about why he performed so badly in September. And it was, as we said, it was simply he was newly promoted. There's a lot of demands on a new Ozeki's time, a lot of media interviews, and he just didn't have time to prepare and get his practice up. So this time he looks intent and he looks focused. Hoshoryu went hard against Shodai, the silky-haired Shodai, on day one with a super thrust. Poor old Shodai, he's copped it both days. And it just seems that Hoshoryu, he wants that focus badly. He wants to get himself up and moving. We kept the pressure up with really super powerful Nodowa thrusts to his throat. So that's a throat thrust, a Nodowa. To Shodai, and it just kind of got Shodai up, and it didn't really allow Shodai to get inside or get any sort of grip, and it was a Sukadashi chest thrush out, another example of Ozeki power. That was day one. Hoshoryu on day two, well, poor old Ura. He faced up to Hoshoryu, and again, Ura went very low. He got a bit of a left grip on Hoshoryu, and Hoshoryu broke it pretty quickly. And again, Hoshoryu did Kirishima's trick. He got Ura a bit upright and forced him back. He just couldn't respond to that. And another Oshidashi loss for Ura. And a win for Hoshoryu to get him to 2-0. Very much forceful and looked in control the whole time. Let's move on to our Sekiwake. So that's our Ozeki. We know that our Yokozuna is missing. Actually, I'll go back. I'll say the Ozeki, they are all undefeated and look like they are all intent on winning this Basho. Really good to see. Let's move on to our Sekiwake. We've got Daisho up against Meisei on the first day. Daisho, our human threshing machine, he just overpowered Meisei as expected. Sapari thrusting and pretty much perfect sumo, I think I wrote here. It was really a display of what Daisho is capable of when it works, and it works well. That was day one. Day two, Daisho he was up against Gonoyama again. Look, this was a massive Sapari thrusting battle. They both went hard. It was lots of thrusts, lots of hits. It was a super impressive fight. If you want to watch a replay, this is one of the ones to watch from day two. But in the midst of that, they both went down and they had a mono-e. The Gyoji pointed the Gumbai paddle Daisho's way for the win, but after the mono-e, they looked at it, and the replays just showed that Daisho and Gonoyama, you just couldn't separate when their hands touched down together. So they got a bit of a second go at that one, a redo match. Look, again, as expected, they're both big thrusters and pushers. Gonoyama's a pusher, whereas Daisho is more of a thruster, a little bit different. They had another go at it, some big thrusts on the second go. Gonoyama really just extended himself in the upper body just a fraction at one moment as Daisho saw it coming. He grabbed the hand and pulled him down as he was going forward. It was a Hikiatoshi hand pull for Daisho to get the win, 2-0. Poor old Gonoyama. Look, that's unfortunate for him. That was a bit of a loss, and he had to work hard for that on day two. Takes him to 0-2, which is a bit of a shame for him. From there, we had Wakamoto Haru. Well, look, day one didn't go planned for Wakamoto Haru. He just didn't, if anyone out of the Sanyaku ranked guys didn't look like they were ready, it was Wakamoto Haru. He was up against Takeyasu the Bear. Takeyasu, he's had a bit of intent of late, so he got a grip just a moment earlier than Wakamoto Haru, and he got the throw done. Left inside, did Waka in, and timing is everything. Look, it was just a momentary lateness to Wakamoto Haru there, and he got done by an Watanage throw. Really disappointing, I think, and Wakamoto Haru would be very unhappy with how he lost that first match. Day two saw Wakamoto Haru up against Meisei, the poor old Meisei. Now, bear in mind, I kind of have this thing in my head that Wakamoto Haru is a bit inconsistent, but to be honest, he's on 48 wins this year, which is a pretty good record considering that Daisho leads it at 53. I doubt that Wakamoto Haru is going to catch up to Daisho, given how the form that Daisho's in, but he's certainly on the leaderboard there for the number of wins for the year. Up against Meisei, look, they were preparing, they were getting together, and there was a lovely little stare-down match between the two. But at the tachi-ai, there was an explosive tachi-ai by Meisei. He wanted it. He tried hard. Well, unfortunately, Wakamoto Haru got his favourite grip right outside the left inside, and he just overpowered Meisei straight out. Good power sumo by Wakamoto Haru. He'll be happy about that. That'll get his confidence back up. Our other Sekiwake, the new Sekiwake, second Basho in for him, Kotonowake. He was up against the Takeyasu the Bear, who beat Wakamoto Haru yesterday. So a little bit of thrusting. Takeyasu missed his grip. Kotonowake kept the pressure up with his thrusting. Takeyasu just got a bit off balance. He got turned around, and Kotonowake just went for the oshidashi. Look, I think just some smart sumo there from Kotonowake. He'll go for the grip. He'll go for the push. I think he's going to be a very serious contender for Ozeki before too long. So that puts him on 2-0. Takeyasu gets a 1-1. And there's a few disappointments floating around. Let's talk about Hokuto Fuji. Day 2, he lost that first one to Takakeisho. This is his 600th bout tonight. So he was up against Tobizaru. Look, good strong tachi-ai. Tobizaru, though, he had the speed, he had the agility, and he just outmaneuvered Hokuto Fuji, who just didn't seem to have his go forward. He broke his balance and got himself just in a bad position for a rear push-out Okuridashi. Tobizaru gets his first win up, a 1-1. Poor old Hokuto Fuji, look, so far, he's been very disappointing. He goes 0-2. Let's have a quick chat about Midori Fuji. Look, impressive. Despite day 1, he was up against Shononumi. And look, it was a good tachi-ai. Midori Fuji was trying hard, and he got both hands inside up under the armpits, but Shononumi denied him a bit of a right grip, and it turned into a bit of a battle of attrition. They had a bit of a break, and Midori Fuji went front down as Sho goes back. The fan went to Shononumi, but after a very long mono-e, Midori touched down just fractionally with his elbow first. It was, I don't think he would have been unhappy if they called it a redo, but Hitaki Komi after the mono-e. Look, Shononumi had to work hard for that. It was a really long bout. It was about a 2-minute bout. He knew he had to stop that right-hand grip, or Midori Fuji had him. He saw exactly what happened in September. Great defence by Sho, but like I said, he had to work damn hard for it. That shows Midori Fuji still in good form there, despite the loss and the fact that he is no easy beat. Day 2, Midori Fuji was up against Nishikigi. Nishikigi at the tachi-ai. Look, there was a slight hesitation by Midori Fuji there, and I think that might have distracted Nishikigi. Bit of a strong drive forward. Midori Fuji got his arms up there, and then he basically, small man, forced the large man out, Yorikiri. Look, it was an impressive drive forward for the small man, and that gets him to 1-1. Nishikigi, I think he's in a bit of trouble. That's his second loss. Where did he go day 1? Let's go and find Nishikigi on day 1. Nishikigi and Onosho. That was day 1. My apologies. Onosho, he was pretty motivated there, and some pretty good thrusting. He got a grip on Nishikigi, stuck to it, kept Nishikigi off balance for an Oshidashi win. Look, that's the first time that pair have met, and Nishikigi will be disappointed where he's going so far. I think his sumo is not really working. He doesn't seem to have the drive forward, and to get pushed out Yorikiri by Midori Fuji, I think that's a pretty disappointing effort for him. So where does that leave us after day 2? Well, day 2, we will say that Takakeisho, Hoshoryu, Daisho, and Kirishima, all our big names, our Sanyaku ranked guys, and Kotonowaka, they're all on 2-0. Wakamoto Haru, he falls to 1-1 because of that loss on first day. Our people on 0 wins so far: Shodai, Meisei, Gonoyama, Hokuto Fuji, very disappointing, Nishikigi and Ura. Some of those guys will be unhappy that they've lost those first 2 matches, but they have had some pretty hard matches against some pretty big intent over the first 2 days. Look, I would say if you wanted to watch a match on day 1, I would give it to Ura and Kirishima. If you wanted to watch a match on day 2, you'd probably look at Takakeisho and Shodai, maybe Daisho and Gonoyama their first go, and you'll see some fairly good intent there. If you want to see a couple of good technical win, I would watch Midori Fuji and Nishikigi, and some a good strong sumo win, some confidence win, Wakamoto Haru and Meisei, some really good wins there. So I expect this will be a super basho with all of our Ozekis and Sekiwake with serious intent for where they want to go for this this basho. I don't think this is an easy win for Takakeisho to get his second basho win in a row. I think he's going to have some real competition with Kirishima and Hoshoryu. They will be matchups to watch for. Tomorrow night, day 3, we get into in the Fukuoka Basho. We have a couple of good fights coming. Let me just get my list up. Here we go. Hokuto Fuji will be against Hoshoryu. I'll give that one to Hoshoryu. Takakeisho and Ura. Takakeisho should win that. Kirishima and Shodai. Kirishima is just going to steamroll Shodai, I'm sorry. Kotonowaka, same with Meisei. He's going to pretty much should take Meisei out fairly easily. Daisho and Takayasu, that should be a good match. Takayasu's a big man, and I think he'll absorb a bit of that thrusting and power sapari from Daisho, so that should be an interesting outcome. Wakamoto Haru and Tobizaru, that won't be an easy one for Wakamoto Haru. Nishikigi and Abi, I would think Abi will win that, given the form that Nishikigi's in. Onosho and Gonoyama, look, that'll be an interesting match as well. Gonoyama being the thruster, Onosho's in pretty good form. Takanosho has shown some good go forward tonight, so that won't be an easy match for Midori Fuji tomorrow night. Hokuseiho and Shononumi, look, I would think that Hokuseiho, he had a good win tonight as well. I think he'll take that one. Atami Fuji, he had another big win tonight. He gets Kimbozan tomorrow. Endo Meguryu. So there's a few good matches there coming up for tomorrow, so I hope you enjoy those. I'm certainly enjoying this basho. I look forward to seeing a few of these Sekiwake and Ozekis matched up against each other. They will be interesting bouts. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. I'll talk to you in a couple of days. Let's learn sumo. Hakioi.